The city of Prospect is at the geographic centre of the Adelaide metropolitan area and central to all of South Australia's major economic growth zones and internationally regarded tertiary education sector. Prospect is abound with families and is a young city with almost 30% of the city's population being less than 25 years old. 30% of the well-educated workforce are employed as professionals. Prospect is very close to the central business district and has direct public transport links via train and bus to 11 highly regarded tertiary education campuses. Prospect has unrestricted access to ultra-fast broadband delivered by fibre optic cable, allowing every house and every business to experience 100 megabit per second download and 40 megabit per second upload data speeds. This will further grow the local economy in coming years, maintaining Prospect's status as one of the leading Smart 21 communities in the world, awarded by the International Intelligent Community Forum. Prospect is one of only 4 cities in Australia ranked in the top 21 and has received this award for the past 4 years. The newly created Prospect Village Heart has won 7 awards to date, including 2 national awards, confirming it is recognised as a leader in design both state and nationally.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the information night for Prospect 1838, and thank you very much, first of all, for coming out on what I just announced before is our first rainy day of the year. It was a little bit crazy looking out the window today, seeing that. I'm comfortable now that there is only 2 seasons in the year, that we've got through to May before we've seen this kind of rain. So thank you very much. It's a special effort when you look out the window and see rain like that you don't just go home and reach for the Ugg boots. My name's Shane Hatchard. I'm Managing Director at Red Star Media, and we're very proud to be involved with the development for Prospect 1838. It's for us a wonderful client, being such a great opportunity for everybody. We do what we do for the marketing, and today we see so many people here looking to look out for what really is an amazing opportunity. Thanks again for coming. Tonight's information session has been designed to assist you with any of your inquiries that you may have regarding Prospect 1838 and buying your own townhouse. Our speakers tonight will explain the process from interest in Prospect townhouses to working through the various stages, from entering into a contract, organising finance, personalising your chosen home, and finally taking possession. We have a few videos to show you where you'll hear from the Mayor of Prospect, David O'Loughlin, talking about the Prospect neighbourhood and the opportunities on offer. And David also explains to you in more detail what council plans are for the future in Prospect. Prospect is one of the most exciting and progressive areas bordering our city of Adelaide, and it still retains that boutique and community feel that can get lost in those larger precincts. And on offer right now, Stage 1, the sales of Prospect 1838, is the incentive that you will be able to buy your own townhouse $100,000 cheaper than Stage 2 from just $485,000. In relation to personalising your chosen townhouse, we have Megan Brady from Farquar Kitchens. She's here to talk to you about designing your kitchen and upgrading your dining area to your own choice. Megan will talk to you about what options are available and how they can help you design exactly what you would like. You will also see plans for Stage 2 of Prospect 1838 development, highlighting parklands and open space that will turn this development into a green and parkland environment. But first, let's hear from the Mayor of Prospect, David O'Loughlin.
Our views on the development of Northern Churchill Road are pretty strong. We want to see that as a vibrant, thriving part of our city, and there's no doubt that it's starting to occur. The Bunnings investment was a huge transformation of a blighted corner many years ago. The Reepham Hotel has even renovated itself over recent years, and the 1838 development is starting the transformation of that block just to the south of Regency Road. All of those steps come into play when we're considering upgrading the last remaining stage of Churchill Road. And once this development is on its feet, we will bring that back on our table at Council, and we will find that investment to upgrade that last stretch, as we've done so successfully with the southern stretches on Prospect Road, which have completely transformed the way people think about it and blown people's minds about being able to live on Churchill Road, because now it's actually a very attractive place to live. The whole housing supply option has dried up in Prospect. The number of house sales have halved, not because there's no interest, but because there's no stock. Most people would be surprised to know that Prospect has a young demographic. So that means there's a lot of things for young people to do in the city of Prospect. I'm not just talking retail and leisure, I'm talking sporting opportunities with lacrosse and soccer both available on Churchill Road just down from the development, but also it's happening in the schools. Our schools are fabulous. Prospect Primary has been bursting at the seams for years, a huge reputation. Prospect North Primary School has been growing and it has investment by the millions over the years in that school. Both fabulous schools. Then you've got Rosary Primary for those who want a Catholic education experience, also a highly regarded school. Blackfriars School also has a primary option down this road at Prospect Road and a fabulous secondary school offering, as does Prescott College nearby. We've also made sure over the last few years that Prospect is now zoned into the city high school zone. So we're now, as of right, entry is available to all kids who grow up in the suburbs of Prospect to get into Adelaide High School and the brand new $100 million Botanic High. Now that's been a hard fight. We've won that fight. That school is nearly open. It takes its first students in 2019. There's never been a better time to be a family in the city of Prospect than right now. So you can buy an existing home at prices which are just escalating. Great if you own one, not so great if you're trying to buy one, or buy into a new place, a new townhouse or a new apartment on the Churchill Road precinct, and to a lesser extent on Prospect Road. That is the way that people are coming into our city now, and I'm absolutely delighted.
There you have it. David O'Loughlin, the Mayor of Prospect, a champion bloke, the head of a very, very progressive council, and what more could you want if you're looking to invest at Prospect 1838? I'm sure that most of you here tonight are from Adelaide, so you probably already realise how convenient this location is, being just 5 minutes from the CBD with a direct rail link and 2 bus stops right at your front door. And you would have all heard from David just then that right across the road, the Churchill Centre, with all the various retail shops, including Coles, Costco and Bunnings, it doesn't get more convenient than that. Prospect has multiple childcare centres as well, primary and secondary schools, as David said, which really is fantastic for those residents who are looking for that now or in the future. We also have put together a simple summary of what Prospect is all about in terms of investment potential, population, potential for capital gain, and created a simple chart called Buying Your Townhouse. All of that's in your folder. Buying Your Townhouse outlines the steps for the whole process, from contacting Prospect 1838 through to finally getting the key and organising your stylish housewarming. Tonight's presentation won't take long. The sales staff and developers will be available afterwards to answer any of your questions, as our other experts will as well. Let's hear tonight from our first speaker. We have 2 speakers to explain the different types of deposits you can choose from, and for giving us some insights into some formal approvals. Here to help you is Holly Lovett and Paula Tolmachoff from ANZ Bank.
Help. 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 This'll help.
Okay, so my name's Paula Tolmachoff. I'm the branch manager at the ANZ on Glyndebourne Road at Farrell. It's not at Prospect, but it's still very centrally located. We have a lovely little, what I like to think of as a boutique type branch. And we're always there for you to help you with your banking needs. So Holly Lovett is our home and investment lending manager. She's actually going to get to do the presentation part and run through on how we can help you potentially with your finances. And please have a chat with us afterwards, and we'd love to learn more about you as well. And over to Holly. Thank you.
Hi, as Paula just said, I'm Holly. I am a home and investment lending manager. All I do is home and investment loans. So a lot of people are always scared when looking into purchasing a home. It is a big thing, and we're here to tell you the different ways you can and how it can be made easier. So first of all, as part of the 1838 project, you may be entitled to the first homeowner grant. With ANZ, we can actually help you apply for that with your application. So that's one benefit. The next one is your deposit and the different ways it works. So, as you may know, there's a thing out there called lender's mortgage insurance, which everybody's scared of. You don't need to be scared of it. It's actually something to help you get into your home. So I'm going to go through 3 different scenarios to help you understand the ways you can use your deposit, or different ways if you don't have enough of a deposit. So the first one is talking about if you have enough cash to take the next step without any lender's mortgage insurance or anything like that. So when looking at a loan, we look at 80% of the property value. When you do a loan that's only 80% of the property value, you don't pay lender's mortgage insurance. So that means this is where that 20% deposit comes in, plus fees and charges. So I've done a scenario based on an average price of one of the townhouses available of $485,000. Now the great thing with this project is it is what they call off the plan. So you get stamp duty concessions, which means your fees and charges are only $10,000. So in total, you would need $495,000 to complete the transaction. If we look at the 20% deposit plus the $10,000 in fees and charges, this means you'd need $107,000 to avoid paying what lender's mortgage insurance. Now, lender's mortgage insurance is there to protect the bank, but at the same time, it's there to get you in sooner, and it's a once-off fee which is included into your loan. So the next scenario is if you only had a 10% deposit, and with ANZ you can actually only have a 5% deposit if eligible. You do pay lender's mortgage insurance, but it means you can purchase and stop paying rent. So the next one I've done is based on the minimum deposit that would be required. So once again, we go back to the property purchase of $485,000. You have your stamp duty, fees and charges, which is around $10,000. So you need $495,000. The deposit that you would require is $40,500, which means we would give you the loan of $454,500. The lender's mortgage insurance is $15,906. Now, I know it seems like a large amount, but how long would it take you to save up $107,000 compared to $40,500? And how much would you pay in rent and other fees and charges? And not only that, by the time you've saved $107,000, the prices of the property have gone up, so you need to save more. So the $15,000 gets incorporated into your loan as a once-off fee. Now the next one, which a lot of people get confused on, is family guarantees. So family guarantee is where you have a lovely parent or sibling or somebody along those lines that has equity in their existing home, and they're willing to help you secure your home, which means, 1, you don't need a deposit at all, or 2, if you have a smaller deposit, it means you also don't pay lender's mortgage insurance. Now, the biggest misconception with guarantor loans is that the guarantor is liable for the whole loan. They're not. They're only liable for the amount they're guaranteeing. So this one here is a little bit more complicated, and I am trying to speed it up, so please bear with me. Go through the normal $485,000, your fees and charges $10,000, the total cost is $495,000. Now, in this scenario, you're not paying lender's mortgage insurance, so we can use 80% of the property value to secure the loan. This means the property value would be $485,000. 80% is $388,000. That means the difference between your total cost and what your property is securing is $107,000, which is back to the 20% deposit. Your family property. Now, we can only lend, as per our rules and regulations, up to 70% of their property including their existing debt. So, for example, if they had a property worth $500,000, 70% is $350,000. Less, they have a loan of $100,000, lucky them. That means they've got $250,000 available in equity that they can use to help you. So what that means, and I know this is a lot of numbers, I'm really sorry. Your total loan is still $495,000, but instead of cash, we're using equity from existing properties. So the $388,000 will be secured by your new property, your new home, and $107,000 will be secured by your family's property. So your family's only securing the $107,000. That's all they're liable for, and we do our due diligence with them to make sure they're not under any pressure. The other thing is we can do second mortgages. So if your family member is with another bank, we can use that security without having to refinance them. All right. So the next steps is you come in, you sit down, we have a look at your borrowing capacity, and we can get what's called a formal approval. This is an approval in principle. This looks at your income, your liabilities, how much you earn, how much you spend, and it's valid for 3 months. And this means we will give you the money as long as your circumstances don't change. Now, with these sort of projects, they do tend to take 12 months to at least come into fruition. The approval lasts 3 months. However, once you've got the approval in, we just give you a call and make sure nothing's changed, and just ask for updated income details. So it's not that hard. You'll be taken through with other people that are doing the speeches tonight, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we can help you through the whole process from start to finish. And also, if you're a first homeowner, you may be eligible for a $1,000 conveyancing rebate. So that's all. And if you have questions, because it's a lot of numbers and confusing, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly, and thank you as well, Paula, and thanks for giving me a round of applause as well. It really is a great speech. It's an interesting time, we know, for banks that have been in the headlines of the newspapers and at 6 o'clock news, but really when you listen to that advice, where else are you going to get great information like that but the banks and the experts? And we really appreciate you coming along tonight. You apologise your way through a lot of the numbers, but everyone here tonight wants to understand how they can maximise their investment here, or how they can get into their first townhouse. And for that, you know, your advice is priceless, and everyone appreciates you coming. So you'll be hanging around after. So if you have any questions about any of those numbers, please see Holly and Paula after the presentations tonight. I'm not sure if any of you still read the paper. I do. It's a little religion of mine and my 3-year-old son, so there's future for the advertiser still. But this weekend there was a story in the paper that's actually on the left-hand side, the front page, and so it should have made the front page. The property market in Adelaide really is booming. The last quarter, if you take the opportunity to read the article there, written by Tom Bowden, he's the real estate editor for the advertiser. He explains that in the last quarter we experienced a 1.08% increase in prices, and some suburbs, which you can see listed there, including Norwood, experienced some serious rises. The article's based around stats Q1 2017 to Q1 2018. We saw a 47% surge in pricing in the Norwood area, North Haven up 32%, and Tranmere 22%. So we have at Red Star Media just embarked on an interstate marketing campaign. We are targeting property investors. That's just started. So if they haven't heard about Prospect 1838, they certainly are about to, and that's the sort of information we want to be sharing with them. We've got some more speeches. We've got some of the sales team who are going to talk to us tonight. I did say there's two arms. One's going to talk to you about residential and the other one about the investment opportunity. We have Paul Macintosh here from LJ Hooker at Walkerville, He's also talking about a bit of interest from interstate as well, but you'll hear from him more about the residential opportunities here tonight. Please put your hands together for Paul Macintosh.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming along this evening. My name is Paul Macintosh from LJ Hooker Walkerville. I'm also joined by my colleague Fatty, and together we're the selling agents for most or quite a few of the properties here this evening. I'm not going to bore you. I'm going to just quickly give you a quick little bit of information about the development and then some of the floor plans, and then what I do encourage you to do is to come and speak to me afterwards if you would like to get more information, or of course, as I mentioned to a lot of you, just make an appointment to catch up with me for a quick 30 minutes. I can share with you all the information in more detail, and then you can decide whether it's the right sort of property for you. So look, it is a really exciting suburb within a suburb, and that's one of the most exciting things about this. It's an extension of Prospect. It's not a closed community. It is a brand new extension of a very, very prestigious suburb. There is and as we went through before, there's a lot of demand in Prospect. It's full of character homes, tree-lined streets, beautiful cafes and everything, and it creates a lifestyle that many, many people are looking for. This is an opportunity to secure a fantastic home within a very, very in-demand suburb. It's had some of the strongest capital growth in recent years across the Adelaide metropolitan area, and it's looking, the forecasters are saying that demand is just going to continue. The average price is $700,000 to $1 million, and I'm constantly meeting people across the area who are saying they're locked out of Prospect because it's too expensive. This is an opportunity to get an exciting property within this in-demand suburb. It's quite rare to have a development like this too, within such a close proximity to the city. About 5 kilometres from the city, to secure yourself a Torrens title property. People are staggered when I tell them about this who live in Sydney and Melbourne, because as you know, 5 kilometres out of the city CBD of Melbourne, you're paying $1.5 to $2 million minimum to secure a property. Here is an opportunity to get a lifestyle property that you can move into and enjoy for a much, much affordable price. So it's unheard of, and you are the lucky people at the moment who are getting that opportunity to secure one. I've mentioned before, these properties are Torrens title. Now, a lot of people have asked me tonight, what are the strata fees and the community fees and so on and so forth. Please be aware there are no community title fees or strata fees because the properties are Torrens title. What does that mean? It means you own your own land and you own your own building. So you're not asked to pay ongoing maintenance fees for the roads or shared areas or anything like that. And essentially, no one can tell you what to do as well. So there's not going to be some busybody who is part of the strata who can then tell you what you can and can't do. You own your own home, you own your own land, which is a really, really important thing. So if you're looking as an investment, that's absolutely crucial. But if you're looking to live in the property, it's all about lifestyle and freedom. So something that you really, really should take into account. When I talk about that the streets and everything like that are common property, they're actually owned by the Prospect Council. So the Prospect Council will maintain the roads. They'll take care of all the landscaping in the area. You don't have to think, oh, wow, over the next 5 years, am I going to be asked to put some more pavers down? Or am I going to be asked for ongoing obligations around those landscape trees or whatever else? It is a suburb within a suburb. So it's no different to Vine Street, Victoria Street, Alpha Road, all those other quality streets within Prospect. It's exactly the same as those streets. So it's a really, really important distinction that you really need to take advantage of. We've talked briefly about some of the green space. So I just wanted to share with you one of the exciting things. Most of the properties, if you look at the pictures, have something called a green wall, which is a fantastic initiative to really create a garden feel in the properties. So if anyone watches Selling Houses Australia or some of those landscaping shows, you see what are called green walls, and they're vertical walls of garden space. And most of the properties will have those. They will be maintained, and there will be a way of doing that, but it just changes the feel of the suburb, which is really, really nice because, again, it's all about lifestyle. The development itself will have lots of plantings of trees and greenery as well. And later on, a little bit down the track, when stage 2 is released, there's going to be quite a lot of open space gardens created as well. So fantastic to go walk the dog, to sit there under the tree with friends and family, kick the ball, all those sorts of things. But of course, Prospect is already full of all those things anyway, but right on your doorstep, you can be guaranteed there's going to be quite a few of those things, which is really, really exciting. Nearby services is being touched on. Wow, what a location. Prospect Road itself, cinema. Who goes to some of those fantastic restaurants and cafes all through that area? Transport is outstanding. There's the train line, there's the bus, easy access into the CBD, and then fantastic shops and all those sorts of things as well. You've heard about the zoning to the school. So the new Adelaide Botanic High School, wow, you know, you've heard how much people strive to get into quality school zones. These properties are guaranteed to be in that zone. So fantastic as an investment, fantastic if you're planning to live there as well, which is really, really important. I guess the most important things that you're wanting to hear about today is the specifications. And then also the floor plans. So we've got some examples of the floor plans. We've got some hard copies over there that you're more than welcome to have a look at. There is an opportunity to vary them slightly, but it's when we get to the fixtures and fittings that the really exciting variations also come as well. But we've got 3 and 4 bedroom properties, we've got double garages, single garages. Fantastic as a property to live in, but also fantastic as an investment. You will attract quality tenants to these properties. I've had our property management team put together rental valuations for these that I'm more than happy to share with you that show what such a great yield they have. And then obviously if you combine that with capital growth, if you're looking as an investment, but quality tenants will certainly be attracted to these. But lifestyle wise, lots of living space, multiple bedrooms, double garages, generous balconies, and all those things that you're looking for. But the specifications. What I need to tell you, of course, with these, and I think I've talked to a lot of you about this, is it's an all-inclusive price. So often when you build a home, you hear stories that there's a price and then there's an extra 10K or 15K for the air conditioning. And then you want carpet. Everyone wants carpet in their house, but the builder will say that's another $5,000. And then you want this, that is an everyday lifestyle type thing, and you're paying for it. These properties have everything included. Now, down the back there, you'll see Farquar Kitchens. Everyone's heard of Farquar Kitchens. It's an institution in Adelaide, quality kitchen manufacturer, and they are doing the cabinetry. Caesar stone benchtops in the kitchen. Everyone wants stone, not just plain old lemonade, but quality stone, and you can choose the colour of the Caesar stone benchtops that you might want. Freestanding bath in the bathroom, 2.7 metre ceilings, ducted reverse cycle air conditioner automatically included, and then of course a choice of floor colours and those sorts of things as well. So really, really exciting. I strongly suggest that you talk to the people from Caesar Stone and Farquar about some of the things that you might want to vary to really personalise your home and have a quality property that's going to be the envy of your friends. Lastly, demand so far. Well, as you can see from the board over there, we've already sold some. As Shane mentioned, we're now going to be letting the interstate investors know about it. And as I've already touched on, they are gobsmacked that they can get a property like this close to the CBD. So there will be properties sold over the next 1 to 2 weeks. At the moment, you get choice. You get choice of the floor plan that you want and the location that you want, and you can take advantage of the stamp duty concessions and so on and so forth, and you can personalise your own home. So my advice is to make that appointment, to catch up with myself or Fadi, and we can sit down with you for 30 minutes and share with you the information about the property, and then you can make a decision about which one you want and then go forward from there. So I wouldn't hesitate, take advantage of it. We've got the step-by-step process. Make an appointment, talk with us, and then we'd love to share with you what's available. So thank you so much for your time. I'll be here at the back. Caesar Stone, Farquar are here as well, and Floors Plus. So talk to the suppliers and work on personalising your home. But thank you all so much for coming through this evening. Really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Paul and Fardy. Hang on, Paul's not finished. One more thing.
Just one more thing. Fardy's handing out the Smeg and the Caesar Stone brochures for you. Also, Smeg have got an invitation to a cooking demonstration that we'll give you as well that you might want to take advantage of. So we'll just hand those out now, but I'll hand you back to Shane. Thank you.
Brilliant, thanks Paul, and thanks to Steve as well from Smeg, who I saw here as well. You can talk to Steve about all the great products there. Looking forward to the coffee machine that we're about to get in our new office. God, they got some funky stuff at Smeg. You can talk to Steve here as well. Thank you. I mean, from Paul and from Fardy there, what you understand very quickly is they are experts on the neighbourhood, which is really important for all you. They're hanging around tonight, so you can talk to them as well. Just quickly, a video about the developer, a very short video, Eminent Homes. We'll watch that, and then we'll hear from Megan from Farquar Kitchens.
Eminent Homes started out 30 years ago planning, building and running multiple retirement villages across South Australia. In more recent times, we've been helping investors and first home buyers capitalise in the local property market. We pride ourselves on quality, building to a very high standard, which is evident in the timelessness and longevity of our projects. Our network of brilliant architects and designers ensure that our homes are well designed, beautifully made and have comfortable living spaces, ample storage, great natural light and that all are kind to the environment. At Eminent Homes we are committed to excellence. It is our aim to deliver the best homes for you to live in and brilliant investment opportunities to strengthen your property portfolio. Visit us at eminenthomes.com.au for more details.
And a very, very familiar voice there doing that voiceover. There you go, Eminent Homes, a truly great developer, a wonderful track record, and your developer for Prospect 1838. I gave a pre-promote. If you could please all put your hands together. You've already heard a couple of times. We have Megan Brady from Farquar Kitchens here to talk to you now. Please welcome Megan to the stage.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan from Farquar Kitchens. I'm one of the designers there. I'm just going to take you through a very brief description today of the process that you'll go through when you come to making your selections for your new home. So firstly, what will happen is your floor plans will be sent to us at Farquar, and one of our designers will draw that your house up on our specialised kitchen programs. Then we make an appointment with you. This appointment usually takes about 2 to 3 hours, so it is quite an extensive appointment, but we go through the layouts. We show you 3Ds of how your kitchen and cabinetry is going to look. We then talk about finishes, colours, and all that sort of thing. We'll spend a lot of time getting to know you and how you use your kitchen, especially, and also your other spaces which require cabinetry. We'll also then go through some ways that you can personalise the space to suit your needs. Lots of the typical changes that people make, adding things like more drawer space, additional cabinets, LED lighting, various accessories, and also upgrading the finishes as well. We're currently in the process of completing quite an extensive renovation down at our Marion Road store, which we're very proud of. There we have lots of large samples of all the different finishes that will be available to you, so you'll be able to see these finishes in the flesh before when you're choosing them. We have a very strong relationship with Caesarstone and Smeg, so you'll be able to see all their products in our showroom as well. We also have some finishes that are exclusive to us that you'll be able to see in our showroom as well. We have quite a few full kitchen displays in our showroom, so you'll be able to see how the spaces that you're going to get function, you'll be able to test drawers and all that sort of thing. And just to finish off, I'll just show you a couple of examples of what your kitchen may look like. But yes, if you've got any questions, Justin or myself will be around to answer them after the presentation's finished, so please feel free to come and ask us any questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Megan and Justin, for hanging around to answer everybody's questions. Afterwards, we did say that we would like to make this a quick evening. I don't want everybody to leave after our last but not least speaker, Nadal. I'd like you to hang around. As I said, we have all the experts here to answer all of your questions. But without further ado, last but not least, from Silvertail Property Group, Nadal Rashid. Thanks very much.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name's Nadal. I'm from Silvertail Property Group. We are basically a buying agency that help people get on and move up the property ladder. Tonight, I wanted to share a bit of insights on the project that we're working with. When we were first introduced to Prospect 1838, we were really, really excited. A few reasons. One is because of the proximity to the city and all the technical and fundamental factors about any investment. In particular, with Prospect 1838, we were quite excited because when we ran the numbers, they stacked up. And for us, we're all about making sure we do let the numbers do the decisions for us. And tonight, I'll share some of that with you. I'm joined here with one of my colleagues, Karen, at the back, and she'll be handing out some investment forecasts and some numbers that we can go through together. And if there's any questions, please feel free to ask along the way. But just so I get an idea of who I'm talking to, can I just get a show of hands? Who here is looking at Prospect 1838 as an investment opportunity? Can I just get a show of hands? All right, and who's looking at this as a place to live in? All right, and who's not going to put their hand up no matter what I ask? Great. All right, let's get into it. So everyone's run through the steps of how you would make this happen. Obviously, just start a conversation is usually the best way. And we would obviously take the steps in terms of qualifying the finance, going through your needs, and being able to put a property aside for you in terms of what's most suitable. So, in terms of Prospect's location to the city, you all know its proximity to the city is literally within 5 k's. Now, when you compare Prospect 1838 to any other project that's happening in Melbourne or Sydney within the same proximity, there is no way you'd be paying less than $500,000 as an entry point. That I can guarantee you. We work all around the country. We work with projects in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and I can tell you that there is nothing that compares to this in terms of value for money. So, in terms of proximity, look, I'll just skip through some of these, but in terms of the numbers, the median house price in Prospect at the moment is sitting at $700,000. The annual growth that we've experienced just in the last 12 months has been 5.9%. That's in terms of capital growth. The median rent at the moment is sitting at $395, so that's obviously a combination of old and new, which worked out to be a 2.9% yield. So that's just your return on investment. Now, one of the things I usually get asked is, what do you go for? Do you go for growth or do you go for yield? And how do you ensure you get the best return on your investment? And generally speaking, if you wanted a high yielding investment, you go further out from a capital city. If you want something with a higher growth potential, you try and invest closer to the capital city. With Prospect 1838, we've been able to get both, we've been able to get both birds with one stone. And the reason I say that is because we've controlled the land value, and you're able to get a 3 to 4 bedroom home, 2 bathrooms, double garage on a Torrens titled lot, for under $500,000 that'll rent out for a good yield. Some of the figures that I've seen is about $450 per week. You're actually going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to get the capital growth because of the investment potential and the upside, and you're also going to get the yield, because the figures and the amount of income you're going to get coming in is going to help pay the property off over time. So ultimately you end up with an asset that is not only going to grow in value and give you a good return down the track, pays itself off, and gives you some tax benefits along the way as well. And I'll run through that in a bit more detail. To give you an idea of the median house price growth, this is what Prospect looks like since 2014. So as you can see, it's an upward trajectory, and not to say that property always goes up in value, because there's always going to be fluctuations in any kind of investment that you do. However, property is a long-term vehicle. It is not an investment that you would get into to buy and flip and make your money inside 12 months. That's not the right vehicle for it. But certainly, if you're looking at this with a long-term view, property can be a very, very fruitful investment vehicle. So on that, who would have liked to have bought more property in Prospect in 2014? Absolutely. So in terms of the breakdown of demographic, this is really important to us, because when we look at who makes up the area, we can see that approximately a third of the population own their properties outright. There's a third that are purchasing their property, which means they're in the process of paying off their home. And there's just over a third that are renting. Now, when you look at this from an investment point of view, when you've got 70% of the area are owner-occupiers and only 30% of the area are tenants, that gives us an indication that the amount of properties on the market is not keeping up with the demand that there are for tenants that want to live in the area. And that's obviously reflected in some other figures that we've got in our research. So again, proximity and location. You saw in the video from David O'Loughlin about the future plans for Churchill Road. So the future stages of what's about to roll out north of Regency Road is also exciting. And as an investor, you want to be getting in early on in that piece rather than waiting for all the activity and the action to have happened. So this is where you make your returns. Obviously, the guys have gone through some of the floor plans, but again, 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, garage, balconies in a master planned community. You can't go wrong for under 500. So as you've seen, there's a few different floor plans at the back. Obviously, whichever one suits your needs is, as an owner occupier, you would look at it with completely different, reasons and ways to decide. Whereas as an investor, you would be looking at the numbers more so than the floor plan, because as an investment, the less emotions you invest, the more money you tend to make. And that's a general rule of thumb that we work with. So, if I can direct your attention to the forecast in front of you, you'll see that there is a lot of numbers there. Okay, so if I can direct your attention to the top section, which shows capital growth and property value, you'll see under 2018 a purchase price of $485,000 for a property. Right? Now, we know that the average growth in Prospect has been over 5%, and that's been historic, as far back as you want to go. In Adelaide, we actually average about 7.4% growth when you stretch it out over a 100-year period. So property tends to double every 7 to 10 years on average. In Adelaide, we nail it every 9.4 years. Just some background info. So if you have a look at the $485,000 price point over a 10-year period with only a 5% growth, that means in 10 years' time, that property could potentially be worth $790,000. So if you've bought in for $485 and it's worth $790, that's $300,000 in capital growth over a 10-year period. So if you average that out, that's $30,000 a year that your net position is growing that you don't necessarily have to work for. So that's a $600 a week pay rise that you don't have to go out there and put the hours in for. When you look at this second row down under loan and equity, in this example here, we've factored it as an interest-only payment to the bank. Now, the reason we've done that is a lot of our investors still have their own home loan, and your home loan is a non-tax deductible debt, so our advice would generally be, for someone who's concerned about the tax implications, is you'd pay your home loan off first, and your investment debt is going to be tax deductible, which is going to serve you. So it's a good debt. So the loan stays the same. However, as the value of the property increases, your loan to value ratio, or your LVR, decreases. Now, as your LVR decreases, it means you start to free up more equity in that property to be able to do further investing down the track. So if you have a look at the bottom of the loan and equity, it shows you how much equity you've got available in the property and your buying power against it. That gives you an indication of how much equity you'll have year on year that you'll be able to use for further investments. Does that make sense? Is everyone with me so far? Cool. If I go a little bit quick, please feel free to ask any questions. So when we look at the third one down, which is the rental income, and you'll see based on a $450 rental per week, we always allow for a little bit of vacancy. So we've allowed for 2 weeks vacancy every single year, but that still comes out with $23,000 worth of rental income. Now that $23,000 works out to be a 4.7% gross yield. So that's before taking into account any expenses. Once you take out all your expenses, you end up with a net yield of 3.8%, which is still a really good return, by the way. Now, the next one down, which is your annual expenses. If you have a look, the loan interest rate we've factored in there is at 5%. Now, I'm sure you can get loans much cheaper than that these days, but we've been a little bit conservative and said 5% for the interest, which works out to be $19,643 in interest repayments per year. The other expenses, which is going to be under additional expenses, they're all your property expenses, like your rates, your insurances, your property management, any fees and costs that come up the way, reletting fees, etc. And that works out to be $4,520 per year. So when you work out the total number, it means that you've got $24,000 going out and you've got $23,000 coming in. So pre-tax, what's actually coming out of your pocket is going to be $1,163, which works out to be $22 per week, right? Now, who's going to miss $22 per week if you get to control an investment that's going to make you 30 grand per year? You're not. So it's costing you $22 per week. That's pre-tax. Now that becomes your negative gearing components. Now we're not necessarily big fans of negative gearing as the main strategy, but in this case, if you're having to front up $22 per week or $1,100 per year, that's your first part of your tax deduction. Your second part of your tax deduction comes from the depreciation. So the way depreciation works is the same way a car works. You drive it out the car yard, it drops down in value the minute you drive it out the yard. With property, because everything is brand new, so all your carpets, your curtains, your appliances, your air conditioners, everything is brand new. So as the tenants start to use it and use those fixtures and fittings, they depreciate on paper. Now that depreciation becomes another tax deduction, which in this case, we've allowed $10,000 worth of depreciation, which is pretty conservative. We won't know the exact figure until we send a quantity surveyor out to be able to assess all the items in there. But in total, we end up with about $12,000 worth of deductions for the year. Now, that's $12,000 worth of deductions will come off your taxable income. This example was factored on someone working and earning $85,000 a year, which is about the median, which means with that kind of deductions, you will receive a $4,300 refund from the ATO. Now that $4,300 refund will actually cover the initial shortfall of $1,100 and still leave you with a positive return of $3,192, which works out to be about $60 a week, positively geared. So there's three things that have happened here. Number one, we've got a property that's increased in value by approximately $30,000 per year. Secondly, we're actually making about $3,000 per year in positive cash flow after tax. And the third thing is, you're paying less tax year on year. So who would agree that would be a good investment to get involved with? Absolutely. So I don't want to go into, obviously, the whole 10 years, but I've put all the information there. The second page behind gives you a financial summary that explains the figures that we have used to produce that 10-year forecast. As anyone would always, and I didn't do my disclaimer at the start, so this information is of general nature, so this is obviously based on a particular scenario, so don't take this as specific investment advice for yourselves. What I'd recommend is you'd sit down with a professional, and we are more than happy to give whoever wants a complimentary session to sit down with us, run through the numbers. We plug in your exact situation into this scenario, and we can, show you what it's going to cost you or make you on a weekly basis. So I hope you got some value out of this. Any questions or anything on anything we ran through? All good? No worries. Thank you very much for your time and your attention, and hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you.
Great, thanks Nadal, thank you very much. And to all our presenters tonight, that really was good. Actually, Nadal, I should just remind you, I can write your disclaimer and record it, and we can talk really fast at Red Star Media and have it done for you, so we'll talk to you about that later. But for all of our presenters tonight, first of all, we had the Mayor, who has been a terrific supporter of Prospect 1838. That was on video, but to Paula and Holly from ANZ Bank, that information was fantastic, and the sort of information I'm sure everyone came here to hear. You're hanging around to help everybody as well. Thank you to Megan from Farquar Kitchens as well for coming along, presenting. You'll be here as well talking about the kitchens and what everyone can expect from you. We had Paul from LJ Hooker at Walkerville, and we just heard from Nadal as well. Everyone will be hanging around to answer all your questions and help you understand why you should be making the great decision to purchase at Prospect 1838. Please everybody put your hands together for all our presenters tonight. And for everybody else, I said it at the very start, I'm sure it's not lost on you, the great opportunity at Prospect 1838, so thank you for coming out on this rainy night to hear from all our speakers. I'm also sure that we are preaching to the converted with some of the information that you heard tonight. That's why you're here, but I'm sure that our presenters also gave you some great insights just to get you across the line as far as why this is a wonderful opportunity for investors and a great place to live near the city of Adelaide and Adelaide Oval. Thanks again on behalf of everyone at Eminent Homes and Prospect 1838. Thanks for coming along tonight.